All right, perfect.
All right, let's go
Can they
ahead
see
and
us?
get started. Thanks, everybody, for
Yeah, I can't.
You
Can we
guys
make
wanna
it
see-
bigger? Yeah, so we can see people. Hold on.
all the people.
There we go. Okay. Can you see us?
All right, welcome. We've got Candace Parker and Chelsea Gray on the Zooms today. United for the first time in a couple of years, won a championship together in LA, both going for their third championships here in Vegas. Let's get things started. MA, go ahead.
Yeah, Candace and Chelsea, nice to see you both. As John said, you guys have won a championship together, you've won one apart. I guess just what is it like to be back together? I know what a good friendship you two have, and what's it like to play together again and be together on court?
Well, I'm just getting back from overseas, so I haven't had a ton of time on court to be able to play with her. But like, it's just like certain actions going over 5-on-0. It's such a pleasure to be able to play with such a versatile player. Like, we're able to get out and transition. She's pushing, like it just gives different looks. And so it goes back to like, I remember this type of feel. And it's been pretty cool to see years down the line coming back together. It's a different vibe. We both have grown in different ways. And so we're excited for the next few months.
No, I'm excited. I think when this opportunity first presented itself, my daughter was the one that was like, so you mean that we can go over to Tip and Chelsea's house every single night for dinner? I'm like, well, probably not every night, but I think it was like obviously on the court, but off the court. We're the best of friends, and our families are friends. And so I think that has been amazing. I mean, we've done that already. I haven't been on the court with her yet, but I've been watching her overseas and obviously played against her last year and have seen like the way that she dominates and the way that, we knew that she was capable of dominating. And I think it's going to be so fun to play with somebody that has such a amazing basketball IQ. And yeah, I'm excited to be out there and play with her. I didn't think it was going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, we kind of said like a goodbye on court. And so now to kind of flash forward, I was looking at her in black and red. I was like, is this for real? Like, is this really happening? Because we didn't think that this was going to happen at all.
No.
Like, if you would have asked us, it was over with of us being teammates,
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yep.
Oren?
Hey, Oren Weisfeld with The Guardian. Question for Candace. I know you talked about like on Draymond's show about not having a locker and all that stuff. I'm wondering how much like Ace's ownership and kind of their willingness to spend money and basically treat players right. Like, how much did that stuff factor into your decision?
Well, I think it factored into my decision a lot. I think as a 37-year-old player, as a vet, taking care of my body is first and foremost. So to be able to have access to not just a locker, but a facility that you can go and rehab and have the latest machines. I mean, I took a nap the other day in the hyperbaric chamber. I think I get in the cold tub every single day. And so I think it's just being able to have the machines and the nuances and things like that that can help my body be as prepared as it can be going into, year 16. So I think that factored into my decision. And then also the style of play, I think sharing the ball and not having to do as much, you know what I mean? And so I think that that's kind of been amazing. I mean, going along with being able to have something that is your locker and you can leave stuff there. And, I know that caused a big stir and, whatever, but at the same time, I think it's something that everybody should be able to have a spot where you don't have to take your stuff with you, or you don't have to
just
clean
leave
it
your
out.
hairbrush.
You just leave your baby hairbrush and it's there the next day when you go back. So I hope that this has inspired others to kind of step up the game, because I know that's how it is with ownership. It's a competition. So now, who's going to be next?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And then a question for either of you, both of you. Like, there's been a lot of super team talk. We don't have to get into that. But when you look at some of the past kind of super teams or dynasties in the W, whether it's the Lynx or the Comets, Did either of those teams shape you guys as a basketball fan or as a fan of the W?
I would say like watching the Houston Comets play for sure. It was the first of its kind. Like you always looking to see the first one to do something. And so watching that, but against Minnesota, like we were trying to beat them when they were at their strongest with their dynasty. So it's kind of it's two different kind of years when we were playing. We were watching it, kind of aspiring to be in that position, watching the Houston Comets play.
Yeah, I raised the roof for sure. And I definitely try to go out and shoot like Tina Thompson and shoot a runner in a Euro like Cynthia Cooper. And like Chelsea said, I think it's a little different with the Lynx because we were trying to beat them.
Yeah, we were competing against them at their highest level.
Exactly. But I don't know if we've brought that up or I don't think you can even say that until the season is underway, or it's kind of more a reflection, it's not something that you say going into it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Matthew?
Hey ladies, Matthew Walter from the Next. Chelsea, I want to start with you. Obviously, you said you've only been back a short time, but how does training camp so far this year feel different versus last year? Becky in her second season, coming off the championship, how are the vibes sort of different?
It's kind of like it feels like we pick up where we left off rather than everybody learning something new at the same time. Like you have sprinkled in some people that kind of familiar with the sets because they played against it. And then people that's come back and is like, they're familiar with the terminology. So it's not something new. Like the coaches aren't learning new things about their players. Like we were trying to learn it all during training camp and getting game shape. And so now you're looking at having more fun with it, and different wrinkles you can put in different plays because we have various personnel. Like we can put Candace in a different spot than we did last year, or we didn't have a player to do that last year. So I think it's just a little bit more fun because our chemistry, now we're just working on our chemistry and growing in it that way.
And then Candace, for you, you've been through it now about a week. How do you feel like you're fitting in chemistry wise and getting the concepts down as the week has progressed and trying to figure out where you fit in both on and off the court with this group?
I think the biggest thing, and I mean, it's no secret, Vegas reads a lot. Like they read action. So they have a set. And then as an opponent, you knew this, then it was reads. And I love that. I love creativity. I love learning players and not doing the same thing every single time. And so I think just in terms of the biggest adjustment for me this week is learning terminologies and learning, what those terminologies mean here, because it's a little bit different. And then after that, it's just, about adjusting to who likes the ball where and how I can make, such and such get to their spots and things like that. So I think that will come with time. Rome wasn't built in a week. I know it says a day, but a week. And so that's why we're this far in. And, I think right now it's just getting in shape and, staying healthy.
Thank you, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew? Excuse me, Mark?
Hey, all, good to see you. Kind of piggybacking off that question for you, Candace. What makes you such a great player is obviously your versatility. You can really, your IQ, the way that you can read the court. Playing alongside somebody like Asia, like obviously you've played with great post players before, but what has that process been like, kind of acclimating to one another on either end? Like obviously this team didn't really play as much out of the high post last year like you guys did in Chicago. So what is kind of, getting used to one another on court been like so far?
I think it's been great. I mean, obviously we're going to make mistakes. I'm going to turn the ball over, but I think just in terms of figuring out the positions and the spots that she likes to be at, figuring out where I can throw it. And sometimes that's going to be in practice, figuring out where I can't, and so I think it's, she's got great hands. She rolls. She's got great touch. I know that from playing against her. And so I think it's just, getting more time and more reps together. I think we're going to get more comfortable. But at the same time, I think we're talking about one end of the floor. I think defensively we can be just as good, if not better, and I think that that's where I'm excited about as well, is being able to help her on that end, and her help me, and us kind of clean up for each other and help the guards. And, you know, I think our biggest offense is going to be the rebound. Because then that starts our break, and, you know, she runs better than most bigs in the league. So I think that there's a lot of things, but we're taking it. We understand that it's going to take time to adjust, but I mean, Asia's great. She can get buckets on her own. So I'm just an addition to that, getting her in her spots.
Awesome. Thank you.
Jolene?
Hi, ladies. First off, Candace, question for you. You said that your jersey was not available in Chicago. So can I confirm it's going to be available in Las Vegas?
Yes.
Okay.
I just got the nod. Yes, it is.
Perfect. Good to know. Good to know. Important detail. This has been touched on a little bit in this conversation, but I can't help but think of the great Sparks and Lynx rivalries we've seen over the years. And one of the most iconic moments was in the 2016 finals, the buzzer beater. Can you, either one of you, walk me through what that was like in that moment? Just go back in time a bit.
Like play by play, or like what was in my
No,
head?
just when you think about it, you know, in your mind's eye, what is your biggest impression in your memory of that moment?
It was iconic. First of all, like it gives me chills. I think it's sweet when you win a championship on the road, right? Both of mine have been won on the road, and it's like a silencer, but the way it happened and like the journey of that team, it was like it happened in a perfect moment. And like you see the celebration and the bench come onto the court. Like it was a culmination of all our feelings and all our chemistry and how hard it was that season. And so it was hard winning it. Like that shot, she was an inch of us not having a championship. Like imagine, like the game is played with so like smallest detail, and you win games by the inches. And so when you look at the pictures after that, it's like a chilling moment for the people that were involved in that locker room of how close we were together.
I agree with Chelsea. I completely agree with Chelsea. But there's one more thing that I think of when I think of that championship, is that we were up 10 with a minute and 15, I think, left, and we gave up 10 points or 11 points actually.
Maya
Gave up
hit
a three, hit that
baseline, and then I
three.
came down,
Then-
made a spin, shot it, and NECA got the rebound.
That was
Yeah, that's
wild.
so true.
She hit that. No, but I'm talking about that three. She ran off the stagger. And
Yeah.
she hit that three.
Right in front of the bench.
Yes, and so that was 7. Then they came down. We turned the ball over.
Yeah.
Somebody got a layup. I think it was Renee got a layup. And then so we blew because we went to the bench with like a minute something. Like, all right, all we got to do is get one more stop. And then Maya hit that 3, and then it was just like whatever. So I think you never have it until you have it.
Yeah.
And so like the moment that you relax, that's what I take from it. Like the moment you relax, all that can be for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, you know, I know that helped you in your last year's championship. That helped me in Chicago's championship, where it was like, no, we are not going to relax, because I've lost 2 game 4s
Yeah.
at home,
Yeah.
and we've gone back and won a championship and lost a championship in 2017. So like, we cannot relax. And so I think that that's just the mentality that I think of when I think of that season is like, you can't relax. Like there's no time to be emotional and to not play.
Which really speaks to the competitiveness of the league for any haters out there. I heard when I listened to your interview on Draymond's show, and you were talking about how at one point you had said, I'm really happy for this to be part of my career, having this dedicated facility. And that actually reminded me of a conversation I had with Nancy Lieberman, when she had said, I was so happy for the WNBA to be part of my career, her last year playing. Can you compare? I just thought it was interesting that it seems like every kind of cohort of women has a place where they start with the NBA, and at the end, they try to push it a little bit further. Can you compare what the WNBA was when you started to where it is now? Just maybe even in one sentence, you know, the WNBA was blank, today it is blank.
We did 21 straight days at 2-a-days my rookie year with Michael Cooper, who was from the school of thought of Pat Riley. I wonder what today, if we did 21 straight days at 2-a-days with some of the kids coming into college from college. So I I say that in a way of we've come so far because we shouldn't do 21 straight days of 2 days. But I say that also from a place of like, that's where the league has been built. And so we've seen how far it's come, where we're not able to go to practice because of workouts, NBA workouts, or we have to switch facilities, or and that's just a part of the grind. That's a part of growing it. But at the end of the day, I think the reason why I'm here is because I feel like we deserve this at some point, and not easy, but what you should have. And so I think that, definitely the game is in great hands. And I think that the WNBA has grown so much.
And my last question before I stop hogging the airtime here. You were very specific when you were talking with Draymond about how you weren't asking for equal pay. You were pushing for equal revenue sharing. For people who are not understanding the difference about that, can you just explain, like, even, could be a sentence or two on the importance of that?
Yeah, I think so many times, I think Sue said this best, that like comparison is joy's biggest thief, and its greatest thief. And I think sometimes in the WNBA, we try to be the NBA, and that's not the case. And we're 26, 27 years young. NBA is 76 years old. And so some of their philosophies of revenue share, some of their philosophies of, even split, even how much it costs for people that are covering the WNBA to have licensing for videos. There's a difference. We need eyeballs. And so I think in some way, shape, or form, you have to do it in a different way. And, I'll say this, and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, like being here and seeing the way that if you invest, you are going to be able to see what your money can do. You know what I mean? And I think just being able to see the fans and seeing the shirts and the different nights and whatever, like you're going to see that this year. And I've seen it the short time I've been here. And so I think it's about investing, and it's about not necessarily doing everything that the NBA does in their CBA.
All right, last question, Sabrina.
Hey guys, since the institution of the new CBA, both of you have made pretty dramatic free agency decisions. And I'm curious how you think this level of player freedom and player movement has affected the growth of the league.
I think before some players would stay where they're at because of the CBA, but now people can have freedom of movement and put themselves first and whatever makes them happy. I guess in the past, like seeing it, I only went through like free agency one time, but seeing it in the past, it's like the organization was the boss and the player wasn't. And so for me, if a player wants to move, let them move. Coaches are able to do that anytime they want to. So letting the player have the freedom that they should be allowed to do is important. And you're being able to see that with people moving. Me coming to Vegas, like that was a big thing. A lot of people thought I was going to stay. And so I say that to say, like, the player has to come first. And I think you've been able to see that the last few years.
I think for me, I'm a big rivalry. Like if you think about the foundation of every single thing and every single person that tunes into anything, college basketball, UConn, Tennessee, right? Put it on the map. You think about the WNBA, you think about the Houston Comets and their dynasty, but you also think about the Minnesota Lynx and the LA Sparks, honestly. Think about the rivalry. And so you think about the NBA with the Celtics and the Lakers and their rivalry, right? And I think in order to you need those type of rivalries. And so whether it's players, whether it's teams, I think it's also, everything now is changing. I mean, you look at the landscape of college, you can't then get to the WNBA and say you don't have choices.
Yeah.
I look at it like a job, honestly. That's what we're doing. We're taking care of our family. And so for me, honestly, my family was important. Like if you're a great insurance person, you go to the best job to be happy and be in insurance, wherever that is. And so I think we look at sports as not a job, and we should. And I think we're starting to, and I think the players as well as the league will benefit from it.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, ladies. We'll let you go.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Peace out.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We will have practice tomorrow, 11 to 1 here at ACES headquarters. Sunday is an off day, and we'll be back with some more Zooms next week. Thanks for joining us.